I've got my feather plie razor handle. It's my favorite, and I know that they sell these on Hairbrained. So if you're interested, that's where you gotta go to get one. And I prepped his hair with Sense Organic Beauty's Pure line. So it's the Pure Harmony and Pure Inspiration hair bath and conditioner. And then I also went in and I used the detox mask, which is a really amazing and gentle mask that removes impurities from the hair, such as hard water buildup or cosmetic ingredients that are often found in a lot of hair products that just sit on top of the hair. So I went and did a little bit of a detox. It takes 5 minutes at the shampoo bowl. All I did was the shampoo first and then the detox mask that sat for 5 minutes. And then I did another shampoo with the Pure Harmony, and then I conditioned with the Pure Inspiration. And it just gave the hair a fresh start from hard water buildup and whatnot. Thomas isn't somebody who uses a lot of products in his hair, so he actually didn't have a ton of buildup going on. But everybody has hard water buildup, and I'm in Chicago, the best city ever, and we have hard water for sure. I also want to shout out to Detroit and New York because I love y'all too, my 3 favorite cities. So what I'm doing here is just working on this front section with my razor. And if you noticed, I just took this spot that I was working at and I got everything else out of the way. And now I'm just going in and I'm doing a little bit of a less is more moment because he actually has pretty curly hair that gets quite jumpy. And I know that the idea is eventually he wants all of this to grow out with his hair. So I really just wanted to get it so it wasn't flopping in front of his face. So I'm just taking these diagonal sections, bringing them over and opening up the inside of the hair and just creating little peaks. I actually like where this length is for the most part, except here, I feel like I can go in a little bit more. The thing that is going to separate razor cutting from scissor cutting is you can really dictate the shape of the flings, or I should say the direction of the flings of the hair, or really help enhance what the curly or wavy hair is already doing. Where with hair cutting with scissors, you really just pull it out and you cut it. So when you're cutting with a razor, you're actually carving the hair into the direction that you want it to go. And curly hair really loves that. So I've created the length that I want there, and now I'm just gonna layer over these bangs. So I like to start on the inside and cut short to long. And then I have this piece that I'll then layer like a concave layer, so short to long. So in the expanded form, this haircut would be a concave layer from shortest in the center to longest to the outside. And I'm just gonna take those same channels that I grabbed when I was cutting it down for the length, and now I'm just layering them. What I also love about the razor is all the reaction you get from curly hair. So you might take note in that as I'm going through the hair, and you see how I have really strong tension. That's one of the foundations of razor cutting. Strong tension, even hydration, and intention. So 2 types of tension and intention. So right now I have really strong tension. And did you see how all of that hair that was falling out was just having this beautiful reaction to the razor? That's also going to help the hair have a beautiful reaction when you're styling it. So again, just another thing that makes razor cutting so magical. So I'm going back in, look at that reaction of the hair, really cool. And I'm just opening this up. So really what I'm doing right now is weight removal and layering at the same time. I did take a before picture, so those will be posted with a before and after the live, so you could see how hangy this was in front of his face beforehand. So now that I've created that section there, I'm going to be moving on and connecting the top. I'm just adding this little outside piece. Because right when I say I'm moving on, I found something else I wanted to cut, because isn't that how we all operate? Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm pushing this hair into its natural space. So that's another thing with razor cutting that I really like to do, and this is where the intention part comes in, is I'm not gonna ask the hair to do anything that it's not capable of doing and that it's not naturally doing. So I'm not gonna pull it in any other direction except for exactly where I want it to live. And then I'm gonna start going in channels, and it's just gonna be pie shape sections in the front of the hair. They're gonna be held out, and they're gonna be cut short to long in that concave layer that we were talking about. But right now, the intentional moment is that he's actually growing his hair out, so I'm not taking this very short. What I'm gonna do is connect this into the front a bit and open this up. So when I hold this up, all I see is this block of hair. So what I wanna see is space inside of that block of hair. So I'm cutting in the negative space of the hair right now. And then I'm just shaving off that little bit of layer so that it has some more shape. And then I'm gonna take each section for exactly what it is and meet it where it's at. So I'm just gonna pull it straight out from where it lives. And I'm gonna create these channels. But notice I'm not cutting through the length, I'm cutting to the length. So I'm not actually cutting the length off when I'm going in here. If I cut through the length, then I'd be cutting some length off of the hair. But see, I actually preserved that length. And the only place I'm taking a little bit off is back here. So we get that concave layer shape. Now I'm gonna grab this section here and make sure that I have my connection piece here. So you could see where I cut this shorter, and I don't even need it to be fully connected. I just want it to flow together. So I'm just gonna create a little bit of a connection, but it actually is still disconnected, and that's okay because that just creates a little bit more of that negative space in the front, and it's just gonna allow this to not be so hangy. So now I'm just going through and taking another section. Again, for anybody who just joined me, my name is Erin Nelson. I'm here representing Intersense Organic Beauty and Hairbrained, doing this Hairbrained Live on Facebook. So I'm really honored to be here. I was so excited when they asked me to do this. And I'm just sharing some razor cutting techniques with you. And we will go into styling with Intersense Organic Beauty, my absolute favorite hair product line and company. And it's not just because I work for them. I work for them because I love them. So very happy to be here. So I am just working on this mullet that's been growing out. It was a much shorter mullet before, and now he wants to grow out the mullet. So all I'm doing is making this look, you know, a little bit more intentional while he grows it out. Give him a shape that doesn't have to just flop around in his face. But the cool thing is he didn't even care about that in the first place. So there's really nowhere I can go wrong here. Okay, so I have cut the, what would, be considered kind of the fringy area of the haircut. And I've gone through and I've created some concave layers and just opened up some space inside the hair. And I could just already see all of these beautiful flings that are happening. If you love it, give me some hearts. Let me know how you're feeling. If you have questions, you can ask. And my friend V is gonna help me know what you're asking. We are here to answer your questions. Anything Intersense Organic Beauty or razor cutting. And tell me where you're from in the comment section. So, let me tell you what I'm doing, since that's the whole point of today, right? So I just grabbed this little section here that's between the front and the back. This little pie shape right here. And I held that up and I just started connecting it a little bit from the front to the back. So I'll show you on this side here. So here is, I'm making sure, see this little cowlick here? This is my moment of intention. I'm not gonna grab that with this because this would never live here. So this would be me asking this hair to do something that it's never gonna do, which is referring back to what I was saying earlier. So what I'm connecting right now is this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna whip them back around so I can get into position. I'm gonna pull this up, and you see here where these short hairs are? I see them drop, and then I'm just gonna get in behind it, and I'm cutting through it this time because I actually wanted to cut that off. So I was cutting through the ends. And then here, I'm just gonna peel that little layer off the top. And again, I cut through those ends because I was trying to cut that a little bit shorter there. And all I'm starting to do is just get that little connection piece. I'm actually gonna leave all of this detail work through here for the very end. I'm gonna keep going into the haircut. So right now, I'm gonna take a moment of intention before I start anything else. What I see right here is all this swirly cowlick goodness, right? So I'm just gonna isolate these cowlicks in their own little teams here. Okay, and I'm just gonna get them out of my way. If you wanted to use a clip, you could put a clip in there. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna grab one and I'm just gonna pop that in there. You also wanna always make sure you have even hydration, so keep your water bottle handy. If you see little pieces drying up halfway, that means you don't have even hydration. And that is something that will really help your razor cutting be more successful. So I'm gonna go in, I'm in the like straight panel, like, you know, the flatter part of the head here. So I'm gonna take vertical sections and I'll subsection these so that I can only control what I can control in my hands, and my tension point of my fingers is what I'm worrying about right now. So remember how we grabbed this little section here and we created that front to back connection? That is also gonna become the guide for a little bit of the interconnectedness here. So he wants to keep his hair long. So what I'm not gonna do is go ahead and directly connect to this shorter stuff. But what I am gonna do is create some channels that are that short inside of it and then cut to the length so that there are some pieces that connect. You see what I mean? So now there's this channel here that connects to that. And now there's like a channel there, but you see all the length points actually stayed the same. So what we're doing is protecting what the client has asked for. But now even when I hold that up, you can just see more space between that, which means that's just gonna connect more beautifully. I did say he was gonna get a bit of a trim. So here I'm gonna go in just to these very ends and I'm gonna trim that. And then I'm gonna bring that section forward that I didn't cut yet because I was subsectioned. And now here is where the trim just happened, right? So what I've done all in one moment is I've given it space where it needed space and I gave it a trim. So when I'm done with that section, I'm pretty much done. I usually don't have to go back and cut into it. Same thing, I'm just repeating here. I'm gonna grab all those previous sections with it and converge them together, and I'm going to a stationary guide right here. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna create some channels inside, making sure my tension is always on point. If my tension is on point, then my haircut is gonna be a lot more successful and I won't be shredding the hair. So in the comments section, how many people have been told you never cut curly hair with a razor, right? Well, I'm here to tell you as a natural born rule breaker that you can. And it's just, you have to have intention and you have to understand what you're doing and why. So if you understand your why, then you understand that you can do it. But if you don't understand your why, then you probably shouldn't be cutting hair with a razor, right? And it's just like anything else. We need to understand why we're doing what we're doing, and then we'll be a lot more successful and intentional. So I'm just going through and I'm just opening it up a little bit, but notice I didn't cut any of the length. But what I'm starting to get is this like really beautiful reaction from all the curls here. And I'm gonna get a little bit more balance from the top to the bottom. So I could show you an example real quick before I cut the other side. Let's just look at, so none of this was cut already, so we'll ignore that. Let's just look at this side here versus this side here. You can just see this is more hangy. You're not getting as much reaction. You're definitely not looking as connected. And then you get over here and it's starting to look like a cohesive haircut. There's connection pieces, there's more reaction. So you're just gonna get a lot more out of it. So I'm coming back to this other side. So I worked from this side to the middle and then I stopped. And now I'm gonna work from this side to the middle and then I'll complete that middle section. Rehydrate, take my section, and I'm going to pull this way. I'm gonna go to that same place. And I'm just gonna do the same thing I did before. So I can see where those pieces are up here, but instead of totally connecting, I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna open up, protect that length, go in, open it up, protect the length, and then I'll bring this forward and I'll trim the hair, right? So I'm understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing each thing that I'm doing. And that for me is what helped me elevate my razor cuts and the intention that needed to be put behind them. So here's my next section. I pre-comb a little bit and then I'll start my subsectioning, bring it forward. You see that dense wall of hair? What we want to see is space. We want to see negative space in between it without losing the length. So now when I go in, again, there's not as much density there. So what am I doing right now? I'm removing weight while also softly connecting this from front to back. Now I'm coming forward and I'm trimming it. Are there any questions in the comment box?
Do you have any tips for not cutting yourself with the razor?
Oh, that's the number one question, right? Good question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, because I'm a little bit of a all over the place kind of person, I'm a hand talker, you know, we're all multitaskers. So my biggest thing is when you're first working with the razor and you're building new muscle memory because you're working with a new tool, is you have to just be more intentional. You have to be really present with your razor. So being really aware of where your razor is at all times, being really aware of as that razor is coming out, where it's at so that you're removing it from your body instead of accidentally bumping it into your finger. I think, yeah, just being really present with your razor. For me, when I first started razor cutting, and I've been cutting hair for 15 years at that point, and I had all my regular clients who, you know, we were yappers. We'd talk to each other. I was just like, I can't talk to you today. I'm gonna like do this razor cut and then we'll like chat during the style, right? And so I just like set a boundary that everybody understood, and so I was able to be more present with my razor. And then the other thing is, just know that this is just another thing to cut yourself with, right? So take the scary out of it. I personally, and I hear this a lot from other razor cutters, so put this in the comment box if you agree, I cut myself more with my scissors than I do my razor to this day. And when I cut myself with my razor, it hurts a lot less, and it's usually like a paper cut style cut versus like a friggin' triangle that we like hack into our fingers, and we know that's worse. So, you know, take the scary out of it. I promise it's not as big of a deal as you think. Like, I don't cut myself as much, and when I do, it's because I'm not being present with the razor. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So what I'm gonna do right now, if you notice, I just dropped those little colicky areas that I isolated. I'm gonna layer those on their own first, and then I'm gonna connect the rest of the layers in. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because, like, I'm gonna repeat myself here, is I don't ask the hair to do anything that it doesn't wanna do. So this hair doesn't live with this hair, and it doesn't live with this hair. And you can see that clear as day just by the way this hair is laying right now. So I'm gonna treat it on its own. So I'm going to be, when I cut the hair in the front, my fingers were this way, and my fingertips were pointing in the direction I was going, and my razor was going in the direction that I was going. because we're doing a concave layer, right? I need to flip it, and now my fingertips are gonna point in the direction that I'm going this way, and my razor is gonna point in that direction. So I'm just gonna hold this up, and I'm just gonna take a little bit off of that. So I took about an inch off of that, short to long, and then I'm gonna grab this piece that looks like this chunk of hair that like lives together. It's on its own team. And I'm gonna go inside this one a little bit. I treat each one individually. And then here, I could see it already had a bit of shortness there, so I'm just gonna peel it off just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab this section. So the hair is literally telling me what to do right now. So see how short that is already? That's because this was included in that little section that I did the front to back. So all I'm doing right now is just connecting this piece in. So if I would have cookie cutter just taken this down like this and like that, I would have missed all those little details that make it a lot more intentional, okay? So now I'm gonna shake it up a little bit, just kind of get the hair to settle where it's at. And now I'm gonna grab these channels underneath it, and I'm gonna pull them up, and I'm just gonna connect. And I'm just gonna still create that concave layer. And then if I need to take any weight out of it, I'll go inside and take some weight out of it. So remember, when we're removing weight, we're not cutting through to the ends, because at that point now we're also cutting length off. So when we're removing weight, we're cutting to the ends, not through the ends. Right now I'm layering, so I'm cutting through these ends and I'm taking some length off. And then I'll re-engage with that section, and I'll take a little bit of weight out. And that internal working is also what's gonna like fill in that space, because he's got fine hair, but he has like a reasonable amount of density in his hair, but it's not like super dense, but I wouldn't say it's low density either. So I'd say it's a pretty standard normal density, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need some of that space filled out. So again, you can see here what I'm doing. I'm just connecting, and then giving it some goodness on the inside. And again, you know, pop in the comment box if you can see what we're doing here, right? See how all this is lifting up now? Super excited about the way this is coming out. So I'm gonna grab my water bottle, and I'm going to expose these sides. I'm gonna wet them down, because what's the rules? Put it in the comment box. What's the 3 things that we need for like the foundation of a solid razor cut? If you see anybody put it in there, let me know. And I'm gonna say the answer in a second, but I'm gonna give y'all a chance to get in there. All right, I'm gonna say it. Intention, tension, and hydration, right? So right now, hydration, and now some intention. So what I'm gonna do is just look at this hair, and I wanna see what it's doing when I wet it. And you can see it wants to be curly. I mean, he literally has the coolest hair. So we're just gonna leave this. We want all this to eventually grow out. So what I'm gonna do is just go inside of it and just notch a little space. You see what just happened? Look how cute that little piece was immediately when I did that. So now all we did was just give that hair somewhere to kick to, right? So I'm gonna go through again here. I'm gonna grab each one on its own. I'm going in with just the toe of my razor, and I'm just creating these little scoops. And it's just gonna debulk this a little bit. So as it gets longer, it's not just this hunk of hair that comes out of the side of his head. And in the meantime, it'll just help the haircut look like cute and intentional. So I'm gonna leave that piece of hair here, because this is like the first connection that's gonna start to happen from the front to the back as this grows out. So I wouldn't wanna cut that too short. So that's all I'm gonna do there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. My water bottle. Spraying it down for hydration. Hydration only comes from water, y'all. So If there's ever like a product that's claiming to be hydrating your hair, it's just not true. You can only get hydration from water. You can get moisture from products, but hydration only comes from water. All right, I'm pulling this out. Really strong tension. And then I'm just going in and creating a couple little channels. The shorter the stroke, the blunter the line. The longer the stroke, the softer the line, okay? So when you're working in a tight space like that, it probably looked like I was doing a really short stroke, but there was more movement in the stroke, which means it was actually a softer stroke. If I were to take it out and just cut it like that, that will give me a blunt line. When I'm inside the hair, my stroke's gonna be a lot longer because I want to see fluidity. When I'm cutting the edge of hair, I'm gonna do a shorter stroke so that I get a blunter line on the edge. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna do what I call an inventory check. So what I've done is I've gone through, I've cut the bang area a little bit shorter, took some weight out of it, connected it a bit with some concave layers through the top. Then I went through, I pulled everything forward, I made sure to give all the hair a trim, and I released some of the weight in spots so that the hair can just kind of lift up and live again, because he's got this like really magical, beautiful, like naturally dirty blonde curly hair. And it was just getting a little sad because it was just hanging around and it needed some professional love. It needed some hair love, and nobody does hair love better than Inner Sense. So, because that's actually one of the things we say is hair love. That's why I plugged that. Catch that? That was good, right? All right, how's everybody feeling? Any questions? Throw them in the chat. And I will also be sure to go through and try to answer these questions later as well. So if there's a question that I didn't notice, you can also hit me up in my private inbox and ask me there. There's gonna be some before and afters posted, so you can also get into the comments there later and ask the question again, because I promise to go through and answer everybody's questions. So I say we get into the styling portion, because honestly, we're kind of moving and grooving, and that's all this needed. How's the question box looking? Anything good coming in?
Somebody asked, where are you based?
Oh, I'm in Chicago. Yep, born and raised. So if you ever wonder what a Chicagoan sounds like, this is it. Got a hard A and a very loud mouth. Okay, so Inner Sense Organic Beauty is the main reason I'm here today. Thank you, Hairbrain, for having us. So I love this product line so much. It is a clean beauty line, and when I say that, I mean clean beauty through and through. So the products have no hidden agendas. There are no cosmetic ingredients that build up on top of the hair. And there's no synthetic fragrances or anything that kind of disrupts our endocrine systems and makes our bodies not feel good. So that is the main reason I am the most proud to work with this product line, because they really go above and beyond for everything. People in planet over profit, independently owned and operated, and just good through and through. And those are all the values that like really align and make me happy. So I'm going to start with I Create Volume. This is a super lightweight gel that allows for expansion in the hair, and it isn't as heavy. So we have another gel called I Create Hold, and that one's like physically heavier. It's got a lot more humectants in it, and because of that, it's just a much heavier product. So when somebody wants more definition in their curl versus volume and expansion, I would go with the I Create Hold. If somebody tells me I want definition, but I actually like when my hair can like feel like there's not a lot of product in it or feel like it could get more volume, then I'm gonna go with the I Create Volume. Of course, my pump isn't working right now and this is live, so we're just gonna roll with it, right? So what do you do when your pump doesn't work? You just trickle a little bit with your hand and you get a little messy. So with this product line, the biggest thing with InnerSense is you need water, okay? Water, water, water. Say it again, scream it for the people in the back, remind yourself over and over that if this hair isn't very wet when you're putting this product in, you probably won't like it and your guests probably won't like it. And if they take it home and then they don't know to put a bunch of water in their hair, then they won't like it for sure, and then they won't trust you when you tell them that the product's amazing. So, lots of water. We only have 40% water in our bottles, so it's super concentrated. So because I'm not doing a shampoo bowl application, I'm dropping section by section, and then I'm gonna take my water bottle and I'm gonna make sure to really spray down the section with a lot of water. And then I'm gonna take my product. Now with the product, you only need, say, like an edamame to a dime size maximum at a time. So I'm grabbing that product and I'm raking it into the hair, and I'm gonna shout out my boo, Desert Curls Studio. I'm sure you all already know who she is, and she's done a Facebook Live on here, but I've actually learned so much by working with her about like this beautiful way to apply products. So the idea is you're raking it away from the head so that you're keeping the volume in the hair, and then you're bringing it up and you're giving it a little squish. ASMR. You want to hear the squish. If you hear the squish, then you know you have enough water, and you want these to look really nice and juicy. Okay? I'm just gonna drop another one. If there's any questions about InnerSense, feel free to drop it in the comments, and if my friend V sees them, they will call it out. Thank you, V, for being here to help me film today, and thank you to Penny Lane, the wonderful salon that I work at in Chicago, where we specialize in curly hair here, and we are an InnerSense salon as well. We carry the products and we love them so much, and I know they're all big fans of Hairbrained here. So shout out to my salon family for giving me their beautiful space. Why don't you just show the space off for 2 seconds? Show them how cute the salon is. We have 2 spaces actually. There's a space next door and our annex space. So this is our annex space, and she's real cute, and she just opened up this year. And we love it. So want to definitely give a shout out to my salon fam. And again, I'm just on repeat here. So I'm dropping these sections one at a time, giving them the water that it needs, which is a lot more than you would maybe think. So you really don't need as much product, you need more water. What is it, an analogy? What I tell folks if I'm trying to sell the product or teach people how to teach people about the product is I tell them it's like when the laundry soap came out and it launched and it was in the little bottles, and they were like, this is so concentrated that this little bottle does 100 loads, and then they have it next to the big bottle that does 100 loads. This is the little bottle that does 100 loads. Mm-hmm. It's super concentrated, so it needs more water than product.
And somebody said Desert who? Was it
Desert Curls Studio.
Desert Curls Studio. And what was the name? It was, okay.
Lonnie is her name. She's the stylist, but she owns Desert Curls Studio, and I learned how I'm applying this product right now. This is really something I picked up from working with her. She rakes the product in to the hair, and now I rake the product into the hair. So we rake the product away from the head, making sure that hair is really juiced up with water, and then you bring it up in that little section that it lives in, and you squish, and you squish. And I'm on Instagram, I have the most amazing names, so, bear with me here, but Erin Nelson Doe, ERIN_NELSON_DOH. But if you just put in Erin Nelson Chicago, I usually come up. That's how Chicago I am. That's all you gotta put in there. Any questions about Inner Sense? Put it in the chat box.
There is a question about razor cutting.
Let's hear it.
Let me find it. Sorry.
No, you're good.
What are some instances you'd use straight razor versus feather razor?
Ooh,
Just learning the whole razor technique, and all I have right now is a feather.
Okay, right on. Yeah, no, that's cool. And I'm glad you asked that question. I actually usually talk about that, so thank you for that question. So a feather razor, as you know, since you have one, but for folks who don't, a feather razor has a guard built onto it so that you don't have the straight razor that could cut your finger. So a lot of people feel a lot safer when they're first learning how to razor cut to use that. I like to say the feather razor is like a bread knife and the straight razor is like a chef's knife, right? So if you think about that texture that you'd get if you cut a straight line with a bread knife versus the texture that you'll get if you cut a straight line with a chef's knife, that's gonna be the difference in the texture that you're getting right at the line of where you're cutting the hair, which isn't always a bad thing, right? But sometimes with curlier hair, having that end be really intact with not a lot of texture outside of what that razor is already gonna give you is better for curly hair. But you can really accomplish just about the same thing with a feather than a straight razor, but it will have a little bit more texture in it. But I think the feather razor is a great place to start for folks because what you can do is get used to tension, intention, and your razor stroke. And then once you have that stuff down and you just feel like you're killing it with your feather razor and you're like, my tension's good, my intention is locked in, I'm really starting to like feel like I have muscle memory built in with this tool, that would be a great time to try the straight razor. Because at that point, all you have to do is get used to the new tool in your hand and not, I got a new tool in my hand. I got to figure out tension. I got to figure out how to stroke this hair with the razor. Like, you have tension and razor stroke down, so then you just got to be really in tune and present with your new tool. So I think you're right on track, and I love to hear that you're getting into the world of razor cutting. For me, it really reignited my career. Like I said, I've been doing hair 23 years. So another Chicago moment is it's the Michael Jordan year 2023. It's my 23rd year of doing hair, so that also makes me extremely Chicago. I don't make the rules, okay? I just figure this stuff out as life goes on. So now he's nice and juiced up. And what I love to say juiced up because that's what it is. If you look at this, these are some beautiful juicy curls. And you could just see there's volume in the hair, there's flings happening in all these good places. But because we're here to talk about products, I'm gonna use more because more isn't always worse. So this is the I Create Lift Volume Foam, Volumizing Foam. I'm obsessed with this product. I love it as a topper to the I Create Volume Gel. So it starts as foam. When you rub it into your hands, it turns into a cream. I'm gonna have you just tip your head backwards, and then I'm just gonna scrunch this in. You hear all that squish? That's when you know you got the good juice going on. And I'm just squishing. Now see how like even I just rubbed my hands together with the water and it reactivated that product in my hands. So tomorrow, if he wanted to restyle this, all he has to do, and then tip forward for me, all the way. All he has to do in the morning is add water to his hair and re-scrunch it. And then it will literally go right back. So this restyles with just water. You don't add product into the hair again until you've washed it out of the hair. So I'm just, stay just like that for me. I'm gonna grab a little tiny bit more. So that first section I did in the back was 2 pumps, and now I just grabbed like a quarter pump. I didn't even take a full pump, just so I can get some of that into the top. Okay, now you can come back up. Okay. So we have technically 3 products because I did spray him with the Sweet Spirit leave-in conditioner for the haircut, so that counts, it's on the hair. So Sweet Spirit is on here. Then I went with I Create Volume, which is our lighter weight volumizing gel. I squished that in, raked it in, and squished it in all over, and now I just tipped them over and I squished in some of the I Create Lift volumizing foam. And because more is more, we're gonna spray with the I Create Finish, which is a non-aerosol hairspray, and it is a rice grain hairspray, so it does not dry the hair out. It actually allows moisture and hydration to welcome into the hair, but it helps speed down the dry time and it adds one more layer of hold. So we have 3 products in his hair that have lighter to medium hold, but those 3 compounded together are gonna create a lot more hold and a lot more longevity for like the whole week of the style. So at this point, I would just start diffusing someone or put them under the dryer. So I would like to take a few moments. I'm gonna put him under the dryer and then let's just talk questions. Let's have a little Q&A while we do that. So start queuing up the questions. Anything razor cutting, anything inner sense.
Okay, we have our first one.
Okay.
Inner Sense cleansing and conditioner options and advice.
Okay. So do you have like specific options you're looking for, or do you just want to know, do you not know anything about them? Okay, I'll just start talking about them. So we have, what I love about Inner Sense is they don't make things just to make them. So everything's really, I'm going to suck your brain now. Are you ready?
Ready.
Goodbye. All right, we'll just do that. If it gets too hot or anything, just let me know. So we have our shampoos and conditioners go from the most cleansing and least hydration to the most hydration and the least cleansing. So you've got your Pure Harmony and Pure Inspiration duo. That's gonna have the deepest cleanse, and it's still gonna be really moisturizing to the hair, but it's just gonna feel really lightweight. So that's actually what I use for my hair. I have a lot of hair, but I have really fine hair. That's also what I used for Thomas today, because he also has finer hair with a nice density. So then you've got, next in line, you've got the Color Awakening and the Color Radiance duo. So that one's gonna be in between. And so it's got medium weight, medium moisture, but that one actually gives a slip to the hair. So if you want a conditioner that you feel a little bit of slip to it, that's gonna be your go-to. It is our Color Care shampoo, but it is also, the whole entire line is good for color. And just because that's called Color Radiance, if you don't have hair color on, that still might be the best one for you based on the weight and the slip of it. Then you've got Clarity, which is our hypoallergenic line. So it's completely fragrance free and it has 3 key ingredients that are really good for scalp sensitivities. And that one's definitely gonna be like on the medium to heavier side, but it's really rich and creamy, really beautiful. And then you've got the Hydrating duo. So that one is gonna be like the absolute heaviest, and it's gonna give the lightest cleanse. Like it still cleanses the hair, but it's a lot more rich in emollients and humectants and things like that. So it would be the most similar for somebody who's used to co-washing, where maybe you're trying to get them out of co-washing and you want them to start using more of a shampoo product. The Hydrating would be a really great option for that, because that's gonna make them feel the weight of the hair, like the weight on the hair, like a co-wash would give. So that's our shampoos and conditioners. And then we do have a purple tone for your blonde colors, and that one sits probably in between Color and Hydrating as well. So yeah, I hope that answers the questions about all of our shampoo and conditioners.
Next question, what brand of razor are you using?
Ooh, that's a great question. So this is the Feather Plie razor and blades, and these are sold on hairbrain.com. So support your smaller business and buy from there and not Amazon. We love, love, love this razor. It's the OG for a reason, because it's the best.
Somebody asks, is there a time where you feel like you can use too much gel?
Yes, and I find that usually that's because I didn't use enough water. So if, especially with the I Create Hold, because it's like physically heavier and thicker, if you're not adding a lot of water to that hair and maybe even like gel in your hand and then some water in your hand to like lighten that up in your hand first, you will absolutely end up using too much gel, and then the hair will just feel like heavy in the way that you don't want it. So one cool thing that I love about InnerSense is there's been times I've put the gel into a section and I can just tell there's too much gel and not enough water in this section. So if I just start like dousing it down with my water bottle, I literally start to feel that product melt into the hair, and I start to feel it lighten up, and I could just give it like a little towel scrunch to kind of get some of that off the surface and then add more water. I can correct that right on the spot without having to like mess up my style. So I hope that answered that question.
Okay. Do we want to do more questions?
Yeah, we could do some more questions.
How do you recommend sleeping on wavy and curly hair?
So that depends. I mean, I always say a satin or silk pillowcase is the first place to start. Some folks like to use a bonnet. Some people do what is called the pineapple, where you bring your hair up and you just put it in a loose pony and you let the hair all spill over the top so that when you put it down, it's not as disrupted. So a lot of times I will either just pineapple my hair and I do sleep on satin, or I am a little haphazard and I just leave my hair literally kind of choking me out at night sometimes, but I'm still sleeping on satin. So you have options. But the cool thing with InnerSense is if you're styling with InnerSense products, all you need is water to reactivate those products in the morning. So even if your waves get a little, like you had a little party in your sleep, you can reactivate that. Like today is day 3 for me, and all I did this morning was put in Refresh Dry Shampoo, which I might as well just show you because this is my favorite. And then I added some water and I just re-scrunched it lightly, and the I Create volume that's in my hair from 3 days ago just reactivated my hair to do its thing. But Refresh Dry Shampoo is cool because this is dry shampoo that comes out like a foam, so it starts wet. And then what I'll do for my bangs is I'll just rake it through. If you're curlier and you don't wear a more pulled out bang, you could just go like this. But because mine are a little wavier and straighter because of the way I style them, I just do this. And I'm zhuzhing this product in, and because there's witch hazel in it, it dries up really quickly, and then it just turns to powder. So the 3 main ingredients is witch hazel, orange oil, and tapioca starch. And so the tapioca starch is your dry shampoo component. The witch hazel is making sure that that's gonna dry up quick enough and not stay super wet, since it's a dry shampoo that starts wet. And then the orange oil is a natural degreaser, and I think the witch hazel also is a degreaser. So you put that in, but I will tell you, do not sleep on this product because it's the best dry shampoo in the entire world. All right, let's do 2 more questions.
I'm looking, sorry.
No, you're doing great. I'm gonna grab this while you. I'm just gonna put this diffuser on super quiet.
Oh, what kind of hooded hair dryer is this?
Oh shoot, that's a good question. I don't know, but let me see what it says.
I'll get us. There's the brand.
Oh, you can see the brand up there? Oh yeah, DIR. Yeah, that would be the brand.
And there is
And bring it over to the front.
the
of
code.
this.
I don't know if that will help you.
Yeah,
but let's
that one's
see.
the brand though, and then it just looks like
And
this.
then it looks like this in front.
They have a few different kind of hair dryers here, which are really cool. So right now I'm just diffusing what's hanging out of this hair dryer. Just to get it done.
And one more question. Would love to hear how you recommend using the Hair Love Prep Spray.
Ooh, yeah, okay. No, that's a good one. So actually I have this product sitting over here too, because it is one of my favorites, but I was already like putting 10 million products on his hair, so I didn't. Hair Love Prep Spray is more for bodybuilding in the hair and heat protection. and sun protection. So this product comes out like bubbles. You can see that's bubbly. And so it's a super concentrated product that if you are spraying it too close to the hair, you'll get this like intense concentration, which is what you don't want. So you want to be far enough away from the head and spray it so you get this nice cascading bubble effect onto the hair. And typically what I would do is I would just open up, give a spritz, open up, give a spritz, open up, give a spritz. And then if I wanted to flip down and, you know, get my ends a little bit, and then I'll just scrunch it into the hair. There's vitamin B in here, which is really energizing to the hair and helps plump the hair. Angelica root, which also, again, is another plumping. It's got UVA and UVB protection in it naturally from the tree of life, the baobab tree. So this is just a really cool product for thermal care and for body. So this is bodybuilding, where the I Create Lift volumizing foam is a volumizer.
Okay.
All right, so we have just a few more minutes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lift this up, turn this baby off. I never can like drive this thing well, so bear with me here. All right, here we go. And I'll just show you a few diffusing tips. So what I like about putting somebody under an air dryer first, and like, you can't actually feel what I'm feeling, but come bring this really close. I just want them to see, like, this is already casted on the top. That's actually crunchy and hard, though it's not all the way dry, but the very outside of the hair is casted. Where like here, where, excuse me, you can see where the hair was falling out and didn't get as dry. You could see it actually looks juicier. So I could physically see the difference between that. With diffusing hair, you want it to have a cast on the outside before you start manipulating and trying to dry the inside of the hair. Okay, now that's really important, especially for your tighter curls. He's got a looser curl, so you could manipulate it a little bit more, but the tighter the curl, also, it really needs a good cast on the outside of the hair. All curly hair does. If you let it get that cast on the outside before you start going in and doing all this stuff and touching it, you're gonna actually have a style that has a lot more longevity. So that's tip number one. And not to be too handsy with it. I feel like people do better when they air dry. They like their hair more when they air dry because they leave their hands on it. When you're diffusing it, it's easier to start wanting to do all this stuff to it. It's really about drying it. Like, I've taken all this time to set this up and put the products on. It's in a way that was gonna set this hair up for success. So every time I'm touching it while I'm diffusing it, I'm taking away from the prep work that I did to ensure that the style was gonna look good, right? So less is more. Do a little bit more work while putting on your products and a little less work while drying the hair. And I think you'll see a lot of success just in that little adjustment if you're having struggles with styling curly hair. Like, personally for me, I've gotten a lot stronger styling curly hair since working with InnerSense the last few years. And the biggest takeaway for me was like putting the product on, and how you put the product on is actually the first step to this hair having a good style, not how you're blow drying it. So I used to not take as much time to intentionally put the products in, and then no matter how good I blow dried the hair, it never came out right. So once I started doing it the other way, I saw a lot more like aesthetic success in what I wanted to see at the end of a curly hair service. So that's tip number 2. And tip number 3, you know, it's let's see, what would tip number 3 be? I'm off the cuff here. I mean, honestly, just less is more. Less is more. It's more patience and less hard work. So take your time with it and get in the zone. Any other questions coming up on the thing? No? Okay. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Again, my name is Erin Nelson. I am with Inner Sense Organic Beauty. Thank you so much for being here with me. Forgot to tell you my pronouns, and that's important. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a big advocator for talking about pronouns and normalizing that kind of stuff and creating a safer space for all gender identities to feel comfortable, right? Because that's super important. And our job is all about making people feel good about themselves and feel safe while they're in our space. So pronouns, pronouns, pronouns. Thank you, Hairbrain, for inviting me into your world and onto your Facebook Live. This has been so fun, and I can't wait to see all my friends on the comments later. I'm going to have a before and after picture posted. Please engage, ask me questions. If we missed your questions, that's going to be a great place to get in. My Instagram handle, can we type my Instagram handle into the box somewhere down there? Is that possible? I know, I'm asking for things on the fly here. It's Erin_Nelson_DOH. And I'll also make sure to put that in the before and after picture that's going to be posted on the Hairbrain Facebook page. So now the hair is getting a little more dry, so I'm getting a little more handsy with it. And I'm just bringing this hair up and getting it dry at the base and on the ends. And I'm going to finish this up once we're done with this live, because I want this to be 100% dry before I break off this cast, and then we're gonna post. So please be on the lookout, and thank you for anybody who joined live and to anybody who joins us for the recording. Thank you so much.